Alrighty, we are getting ready to start episode 188 here on Ghost of the Night.
Herp derp McGurp.
We'll let some people get in here. Oh, let me go get my phone. I always forget my phone. Alrighty. Looks like everything's working and functionable. Alrighty, we are getting ready to get this party started. If you are watching, be sure to say hi in the chat. We're going to let a few more people pop in here before we officially get rolling in about 5-10 minutes. Where do I want to put my phone? But tonight we are doing the Hopkinsville Goblins, Kentucky's Night of Terror. Goblins are big in fucking Kentucky, apparently. But this is we're just covering one night.
The Kentucky Goblin Cats?
No. That's not some shitty minor league baseball team. Not what we're covering. We're covering...
I wonder if there is a minor league baseball team called the Goblins. There should be.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's something to that effect.
There's fucking gonna be.
Looks like Jenny is here. Jenny has said hi in the chat. If you are watching and haven't said hi in the chat, be sure to say hi in the chat, especially if you're new.
And also like the video.
You can like the video if you like.
And share it on your Snapchats and your Facebooks.
Which you will be doing.
And your Reddit.
Which Travis will be doing here momentarily.
Yes.
Or probably what he's working on right now. What?
I was just taking a selfie. I like taking bad selfies.
You and your freaking selfies. You're worse than a teenage girl.
Attached to Snap. That has nothing to do.
All right. We don't care.
Hey, it's a happening song. That's all that matters.
We do not care. We are shameless whores.
Yes.
I hope everybody's had a productive weekend. I sure have. I've done absolutely nothing.
You did some stuff.
Except work on this podcast for this or work on this episode. And went down a Game of Thrones rabbit hole yesterday.
That you did.
I continued to watch it after you left.
I kind of figured you would.
Well, who doesn't like dragons and boobies?
Dragons and boobies.
If you don't like dragons and boobies, you're un-American. That's all I have to say about that. But I will say this about this case. Do you know anything about this particular case I'm getting ready to enlighten the listeners and viewers with?
I know a little bit.
This makes what was Admiral Byrd's shit looking even less interesting. This was almost a war in Kentucky between something and some people.
Something and some people.
Yes.
I like that. Merp.
I will agree with you there, Lindsay. Game of Thrones the ending was a little trash. I was not a big fan of how they ended it.
I'm one of the people that wasn't all butthurt about it. Like it fit.
But I understand.
It fit and it set stuff up.
Well, I shouldn't say the ending. It fit and it kind of worked. The whole last season was shit. Or really, the last 2 seasons because they rushed them, and they should not have rushed them. What's up, Tyler? But we will, if you're joining and watching, we will be getting ready to start this episode here shortly. I agree. The first, everything but the last 2 seasons. Well, the last season they cut it at Game of Thrones into the last season to 2. I did like that. What was there was a Starbucks cup, and that's how quick they were doing.
Oh yeah.
In the one of the scenes. Who knew Westeros had a fucking Starbucks? They're everywhere. But I am looking forward to the new season, or the new series coming out August 21st, I believe.
Well, yeah, hopefully it doesn't suck.
We hope not. As long as it's got dragons and boobies, what else do we need? That's all I need to make me happy.
I mean, like a good plot line would be good, personally. But that's just me.
Lindsay mentions Stranger Things. I was not a big Stranger Things fan. Of course, I've only seen 1 season.
Yeah, I'm definitely not up to date on it.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's interesting. I like the fact that it's basically based on the Montauk Project.
Yeah, pretty
which
much.
Is fascinating. Which maybe we will.
Eventually, we'll definitely do an episode on that.
We'll hit that one.
We're gonna run out of shit to talk about.
We will never run out of shit to talk about here at Ghost of the Night.
Well, no, as long as we talk about shit like that.
If we run out of shit to talk about, we will just base this podcast around dragons and boobies.
Dragons and boobies. Droobies.
I'm a male chauvinist against dragons and boobies.
Boobaggins.
Yes. Yes.
This is going to be the theme song I heard for the new Game of Thrones series. Dragons and boobies, dragons and boobies, dragons and boobies, and sword play, dragons and boobies, dragons and boobies, dragons and boobies, and way too much metal clothing.
Kept you alive back in those days. But where's Gonzo at? Gonzo's been prompt the past week or so.
He's probably rolling around with sweaty dudes.
He gets on air on Wednesday. And now he doesn't show up. Tyler showed up early. All right. I guess we could.
I just hit up the group chat, but like I said, he's probably rolling around with sweaty dudes.
Well, that's not as good as Dragons and Boobies. Runs a close second.
Dragons and boobies, dragons and boobies.
God, we are so freaking immature.
I don't know, but I'm making a song out of that.
But we will get started with the Hopkinsville.
The onomatopoeias.
Hopkinsville Goblins. What's up, Gregory? Gregory's here.
Grigori.
Yes, but this is one of those weird stories. It's either so outlandish that it has to be true, or these people were some of the best actors and hoaxers of all time. So this will be interesting.
It's one of those ones that's lighter.
Lighter?
Yeah.
Not really.
Like it has moments where you can like just completely go comical with it.
Well, only because, I don't know.
When you bring in things like words like goblin and shit like that,
Well,
you're like, oh, little fucking green guys with bad attitudes.
Well, it's only really, they only say, it's not even goblins per se. These are aliens, which we kind of will cover. But there is a history of, or an urban legend of goblins living in all the cave systems in Kentucky, so it kind of caught on as the Kentucky Goblins or the Kelly Hopkinsville Goblins. But it's, of course, then again, which we might talk about in this episode later on, are these goblins per se that live in the caves really just extraterrestrials that live underground, and the caves are the entrances to their world, or the go-between their world and ours. Very, very interesting. We don't know. So, I don't know. I mean, whenever you got rednecks and guns and little green men, it can be a good time. That's a fucking party.
Rednecks, guns, and goblins.
Yes, that's a fucking party. So in alcohol, and you got a really good time.
Oh no, Gregory asked if they're goblin cock, but that's going to bring up a question later on when we actually start the show. We got to talk about these dicks.
Are we going to have... Can we get through an episode without talking about penises?
We're like the immature version of Future. He's got a song called Stick Talk. This is Dick Talk. I'm all about that dick talk,
It's a wonder why our audience is so small.
They match our dicks.
There you go.
We have 10 listeners for every inch of dick.
So we have 10 inches. 10 listeners. I can't even speak.
20, depending on the day. Dick, fuck, shit, cock, ass, balls.
Okay, you ready?
Shitty shit, fuck, ass, fuck.
Oh, it's a good thing we're not monetized, because if we ever get to where we can't get monetized, we're going to have to calm it down a little bit.
Fuck that.
Then we won't be monetized.
Do you ever plan on making YouTube money off of this?
I will take any fucking money I can out of this.
I'm more worried about that Patreon money. Fuck the YouTube money. I don't need them
telling
telling me how to live my
I'm an
life.
entrepreneur. I'm more worried about the Patreon money and the podcast money and the YouTube money.
Who owns fucking YouTube? Google?
Yeah.
Who runs Google? Fucking Sundar Pichai.
Who?
And Sundar Pichai is an alien, and he wants to kill everybody's babies.
Maybe. I don't know.
Welcome to Infowars.net. I'm Alex Jones. I tell people things that make them email the parents of school shootings and say terrible things to them because I'm a fucking cockbag. Actually, I won't blame Alex Jones entirely for that, but his listeners that did that are fucking assholes.
I will
And
give
even
Alex,
he said that.
I will give Alex a little bit of credit.
He's got staying power.
The motherfucker's been right about a lot of shit.
I mean, I've been right about a lot of shit. But nobody listens to me.
Sure. We got a whole bunch of listeners right there. Look at all those listeners. They're listening to you right now. They're hanging on every word you say.
Oh, there you go. The band Goblin Cock with the band Necro Goblicon. With featuring John Goblicon.
Never heard of them.
They're actually okay. But John Goblicon's funny as fuck. Their YouTube channel's funny. He does like interviews with people and shit. Like full on goblin makeup. Teeth, hands, everything. It's fucking hilarious.
Uh-oh, I've lost. God, I keep losing the mouse. There we go. All right.
Sucks to suck.
It does. All right. We ready to get episode 188, the Hopkinsville Goblins, Kentucky's Night of Terror, underway? Are you ready?
I guess.
All right, guys. We're going to get started right now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 188 of Ghost in the Night, a paranormal and true crime podcast. Tonight we are...
Fuck you.
You're so friendly. You're so friendly.
I really am.
This is why nobody likes us.
The funny thing is, like, I'm actually the friendly one out of the two of us.
You wouldn't tell it. I'm actually friendly on camera. Off camera, I'm a prick.
Yeah, because you don't like to actually deal with people.
No,
You'd been a great Zoomer.
Probably.
They'll have horrible social anxiety because they're like, I don't know how to talk to people if there's not a phone involved.
Oh, I know how to talk to people. I just prefer not to. Because people generally piss me off.
I don't like him. Why? Because he's capable of looking at me physically, not through a webcam.
I just don't deal with stupidity very well.
You just got to kind of let it roll with it.
And I have a hard time. Anybody that knows me.
There's a bunch of dumb motherfuckers in the world, and usually they're funny as long as you keep your distance.
We are going to get to the Hopkinsville Goblins, Kentucky Night of Terror here just momentarily.
There's always like 10 or 15 minutes of fuck offery in here.
As soon as I have my therapy session here. But I just don't like I have an issue with stupid people.
Are we doing actual therapy? Okay, go ahead.
I have an issue with stupid people, and more often than not, people will say something it's stupid and or hypocritical, and I don't want to deal with it.
And how does that make you feel?
Like I want to throat punch them.
Now let's get to the bottom of this problem. Tell me about your relationship with your uncles.
I only had one uncle, and I had a great relationship with him.
Yeah, how great? Intimately great?
No, he was like a father to me.
Father or daddy?
Father.
Okay. There's a difference.
No, I had
No hide the teacup in the bed sheets.
No, I had none of that with family members.
Which is rare.
Actually, no.
People, it's a fact. Unfortunate as it is, like a lot of people, like a lot of that, fucking like child abuse and sexual abuse and shit. Usually, everybody's worried about the fucking stranger that like babysits their kids, and 90% of the, well, I don't want to say 90, but a good percent of the time, it's like it's a family member or somebody who's around all the time. It's fucked.
I had none of that. Of course, if I had, it hasn't come. The memory's been suppressed and it hasn't come out yet. Of course, it would explain why I'm such a prick.
I would buy it if you were like, yeah, I got my butthole fingered by my fucking great dunkle Larry. I'd be like, that reads.
No family members whittled me that I know of.
We're gonna have to do an experiment on this. We're gonna do some mental regression.
Because I didn't really I wasn't close to a lot of my family members.
Maybe that's why.
I had my uncle on my mom's side. My father's side, there's nobody.
No man's land.
Nobody. I'm the last. And me and my father did not get along. So all my family is on my mother's side, and I mean I was close to my grandparents, my uncle, and cousins. Until those kind of relationships, with as time went on, we weren't as close as we were when we were younger. Of course, my one cousin, we were only a month or two apart.
So where do you think that you
became an asshole?
You grew your great disdain for crustaceans?
Just listening to stupid people.
You know what a crustacean is?
No.
It's like a crab.
Yeah, it's a crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love crab. I love crabs.
I believe. Well, there's a lot of crabs that aren't crabs.
What are they?
Most crabs that we know of are not technically crabs.
What are they?
They're like decapods or something like that underwent keratization over the years, which is the process of evolving yourself to be crab-like, because crabs are such a successful family of animals.
But here's the thing about me. I don't like people, but if I do like you...
You try to fuck them.
No, but if I do like you, I'm very loyal.
You do them like Uncle Picklefinger.
No, it takes a lot to break my inner circle, and very few have ever broke my inner circle. That's all I'm saying.
Your inner circle? Your social circle or your naughty circle?
My social inner circle.
So your butthole. Got it.
No.
It's hard to break your butthole.
No, your
butthole's very resilient and can take a lot of damage. That's what I'm getting from this conversation.
Like I've always said, you want inside my circle, you got to bring something to the table. And not
fucking Little Caesars pepperoni pizza and Mountain Dew.
Or
you're in there like swimmer. You're sliding it. You're sliding in like fucking dudes named Chad slide into DMs.
Yes. Or just make me laugh. Worst case scenario, you at least better make me laugh. But very few have cracked the code to get into my inner vault. And anybody that knows me knows that is true. But should we get started with the Kentucky Goblins? Let me pull up the notes. Where are my notes? Where are the notes? Are you ready?
I guess.
All right.
I guess we can stop talking about your butthole.
No, we'll never stop talking about the butthole. Okay. The Hopkinsville Goblins, or the Kentucky Night of Terror, as I like to call it, which I think is a great title.
Where's that microphone?
No, leave that microphone alone. Jesus Christ.
Is there any quotes from the Goblins I can use the microphone for?
No, there's
no
Goblin quoting.
Well, God damn it.
The Hopkinsville Goblins case is a weird sighting of what could be cryptids or what could be aliens. We don't really know, or we have a good idea, but I'm not really sure what it is. We don't know what it is. Was it an alien encounter or an interaction with some grotesque cryptid? Possibly.
It was Mickey Rooney.
That is a
That dude could
grotesque.
totally pass as a fucking goblin.
He-
R.I.P. Mickey Rooney. But
what the fuck happened to him?
oh no, didn't he have a hot wife too?
Maybe. I don't know.
And they both lived to be like 1.5 million years old.
Probably.
Makes no sense.
But
fucking Lollipop Guild.
did you know that this case was also inspired the movie or the comedic horror movie Critters?
I did not know that, and that's amazing because
Did you-
Critters is like the best shitty horror movie ever.
Yes. but-
And a fun cinema fact: if you watch Ninja Turtles, the live-action film, when Raphael goes out to blow off some steam to the movies, there is a movie poster for it, and Critters. I don't remember if it was the original Critters or like Critters 4 or 17, but Critters was playing at that theater.
it's been so long since I've seen that, I don't even remember it. I
What,
know I've
Ninja
seen
Turtles?
No, Critters.
Oh, it's so stupid. They're little fur balls with mouths, basically. It's
Yeah.
like basically, it's like if Furby was a sociopathic murderer, that's what Critters were. But then they were also like the Zords from fucking Power Rangers. They could like combine into one bigger critter,
Really?
and then there was the giant critter at one point. There was like 2 or 3 critters.
Hmm.
It was one of those movies that was like along the lines of being shitty, but you kind of liked it, kind of like Tremors.
Oh God! Why do we always mention Tremors on?
Because they're two, because Tremors is like the horror movie cult classic example of the world.
Can we get back to
It totally flopped, and then it made like $400 million in like a 20-year period.
I'd much rather talk about Tombstone than
I'm your
Tremors.
Huckleberry.
Anyway, many UFOologists claim that this was a close encounter with some extraterrestrial beings. Some even refer to it as one of history's most significant and well-documented alien visitations. More so than, say, the Travis Walton story, which I will say this is more fascinating, and also there is more technical evidence and cooperation with other people in this, what went on this night. So
I would the video.
I would say this might be one of the most interesting, definitely the most interesting alien encounter.
Okay, but let's
we've
think
ever
of
had.
this. Let's think of this realistically. What are the odds that we think that this is legitimately some like inbred feral human being encounter? I feel like that's just as plausible. I've been really into the feral people thing lately because like we know it's a thing.
We'll get to actually we'll cover that here in just 1 second.
We'll get into that stinky hole too.
Yeah, now
Just like your stinky hole.
no, we're not getting into my stinky hole. There'd
wanna
be
bet?
I bet you any amount of money.
I know you, fucker. I'll walk through that door with that little Caesar's pep and some fucking. But here's the kicker: for anybody who really wants to get in Phil's fucking doo doo puss, you got to slide in there with the crazy bread.
Yeah, crazy bread, you're in.
You get crazy bread. He will literally eat the crazy bread and then use the grease from the crazy bread to slide you upon him.
I will eat my body weight in crazy bread if I had to chance. I'm like a dog. I'll just keep eating until I explode.
He'll be so enamored with the crazy bread that he won't even notice the intrusion upon his butthole.
Anyway, changing topics. Turning hard right on this fucking podcast. Kentucky is no stranger to strange encounters. Bigfoot has been spotted in the wooded areas naturally. There's a thing, have you ever heard of the hillbilly beast? This is one of the oldest legends in
It's
Kentucky.
like Robert Oberst.
No. But it is a Bigfoot-like creature. A hairy, bipedal.
Is
creature
that Opie but not from Sons of Anarchy from what was that show that he did for FX after that? Was it called They called them the Ferals.
I have no idea.
Fuck, what was the name of that show? It was about like a feral tribe of people. But they weren't like like they still spoke English and shit and had like ATVs.
I have no idea. But the hillbilly beast dates back to the Daniel Boone days. This is back in what, mid 1700s to early 1800s.
You mean the early 2000s? I went to high school with Danny Boone.
Not that Danny Boone.
Yeah, wore a fucking raccoon skin hat.
Well, this is because he was a hipster.
Wore fucking animal pelts.
Anyway.
Used to do acid with Johnny Appleseed. Yeah. Your timeline's clearly wrong.
Well, I'm talking about the historical Daniel Boone, not your gay lover.
I had a history class with Danny Boone.
I'm
It's
sure
same.
No, that's not. Unless
Historical Danny Boone.
Are you a fucking time traveler?
Maybe.
In Kentucky? Would you, if you
thought you helped me hook up an air conditioner. Joke's on you, silly goose.
Anyway, Kentucky's famous for the Pope Lick Monster in Fisherville, or the Fisherville Goat Man. Part man, part goat, is thought to live under a railroad bridge that goes over the Pope Lick Creek. According to legend, the monster uses hypnosis to lure trespassers off the railroad to their death, or even just kill them, whatever. So, Kentucky is definitely.
So these goblins been working on the railroad all the live long day?
Yeah, they were in Blazing Saddles too.
That's the only part of that song I remember, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get to
and share the video.
The actual.
I see all the time. Why don't more people force us down their friends' throats?
I don't know.
Spam message all your friends with this link right now. They need us. We are the saviors.
Sure.
We are the second coming.
Sure.
We are the Alpha and the Omega.
Or we're just a bunch of idiots that talking to a microphone.
Watch, one of these days, everybody's gonna be like, "Holy fuck, they were right."
We'll be the Alex Jones in 20 years. Well, you will be. I'll be dead.
I fucking told you. Call that shit.
Anyway, let's get
Travie Jones.
Let's get to the actual night that this Hopkinsville Goblin made its appearance. On August 21st, 1955, the Sutton family had a terrifying experience with some kind of creature on their property. The event was witnessed by 5 adults and 7 children. Now, in my research, I've heard anywhere from 8 adults to 3 children. You know,
and this is where the number shit like this starts to lose legitimacy.
Well, the number of people there, and I think what this is basically, I think some of the children were adolescent or young adults, so that's why that number varies a little bit. Like that 8 and 3 or 8 and 4 number, they could have counted some of the older children as adults because they were young adults. So that's not a big thing. Billy Ray Taylor was with his wife staying with the Suttons on just as a getaway, spending time with friends. He left the house to go to the well to refill the water. As he was dropping the pail into the well, he took a look around, just admire his surroundings. Kentucky is beautiful, especially down there. The woods.
When was this?
1955.
Oh, no, he wasn't. He was looking around and he was like, "There's no colored people, is there?"
Why you gotta be racist?
Because it's Kentucky in 55.
Well, I'm sure.
Have you seen? It's 2022. Have you been to Kentucky? Imagine what it was like in 55.
Well, that has nothing to do with the story.
I'm just saying.
Anyway.
Oh, look. Deadpool's on again.
Right. Okay. So he was filling up the bucket as he was putting the pail down into the well.
When he put the pail into the well.
When he put the pail.
And then he made sure to step over the barbed wire.
Down into the well. He was just looking around at his surroundings, looking at the wooded area that surrounded the property. He looked in the sky to check because it was at sunset. If you even, sunsets down there are a little bit different. You get a lot of colors. You get them here too, or anywhere. But
the only colors you run into in the state of Kentucky in 1955.
Yes, okay. But he was checking out the sunset, and he noticed a light in the sky that caught his attention. Now, the object appeared to be made of some sort of metal because it was reflecting the dim sunlight, the sun setting.
The dim sunlight?
The dim light from a setting sun. How about that?
Did it come with Wepsi a 15-minute?
Yeah. We got another Chinese racial joke you want to make?
Oh, no. Chinese food does sound kind of good. It's just not worth the money, man. It's like you paid $20 to be fucking hungry in 20 minutes. It's like, Jesus Christ, chill out.
What does that have to fucking do with...
Throw a couple more dog tenderloins in there and fucking fill me up, chow mein.
What does that have to do with goblins?
It said dim sum.
Okay, whatever it was getting lower and getting closer to him. So once the object was hidden behind the trees, Billy Ray heard a thud. So either it landed hard or it crashed.
Wait, is this the alien? Is the alien thud involved in this whole thing?
What do you mean alien thud?
There's an alien story where the alien is referred to as thud.
No, I'm referring to the plane or the craft.
There really is, though. I'll have to look into it. I can't remember which one it is, but thud, the alien, is apparently a thing.
He heard a thud as a noise, as in the craft fell to the earth or crashed or just landed real hard.
That wasn't the fucking the aircraft. The aircraft had already landed. That was the Goblins' rock hard erection after seeing this young boy in the whale.
Well, he wasn't young. He was one of the fathers. He was one of the adults.
To a goblin, though. Goblins could be thousands of years old.
Anyway, he ran back to the house to tell the rest of the people, the rest of the gathering, about the UFO he just saw. His friends responded. Their friend's response was typical. They pretty much laughed at him and thought he was crazy, and probably thought he was trying to play a joke on them. They just thought, because I guess Billy was and another one of the guys were kind of jokesters. Billy began to become frustrated with their response, and it caused the family and friends to realize that maybe something was to this. Then, they quickly tried to rationalize the sighting, just to kind of go over with them. Okay, well, let's figure this out. What was it? Naturally, they came up with meteor and whatever. 55, they weren't going to say.
It was the Nazis.
It could be. Billy Ray insisted that somebody come with him so he could point out the location of the sighting of the location of the sighting and see where this thing went down at. One person took him up on the offer. By this time, darkness had.
That's how you know you throw in the towel, when only one person's like, "Yeah, let's go check this out."
Maybe.
Usually, a group of two is not a proper search party when you don't know what exactly happened.
Right, but by the time they
Just
went
go by
out,
yourself at that point.
by the time they went out, the sun had already set. The skyline. As the two men were heading back to the house, they checked out. They didn't see anything. Correction. They did see a light in the woods, in the forest, or the wooded area. It looked like it was coming toward them.
Yeah, but in that area, that could be a lot of things too, though. Like
Right.
that could have just been a fucking somebody camping or a fucking moonshiner.
Very well could have been, but according to their testimony, it wasn't bright enough to be a flashlight. It was dim, maybe a lantern or something to that effect.
It was 55 in the middle of the woods. A lantern would make sense.
But they saw this as they were walking back to the house. They watched this dim light move closer. Once it got within 20 feet or so, they could actually see what was moving toward them.
Mm-hmm.
So this would have let me finish. This would have blew your skepticism out of the water.
I have a feeling it's not going to.
Well, because you're a dick.
We're talking about goblins. We're
talking actually about goblins. Just a word that they use. We're talking about alien. This is a alien abduction.
Alien goblins?
Or not alien abduction.
Gablalians?
They're just using the word goblins because of the urban legend of Kentucky's goblins.
What about an ogre?
No.
Ogres have layers.
Anyway. I lost my place. Both men realized they were looking at a small humanoid creature with short legs and long, skinny arms, and it was standing within 20 feet of them. The creature had large, saucer-like eyes that seemed to glow in the dark, a yellowish color. Whatever it was, it seemed to have large, pointed ears. Hence, why they call it a goblin.
It was a chupacabra.
It was walking on two legs.
It was that one Pokemon.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it.
The appearance of this thing wasn't the strangest thing the men noticed. It appeared to be floating rather than walking towards them. It was not walking, it was floating. Kind of like a ghost.
Like Mr. Burns from that one episode of The Simpsons?
I've covered this. I did not watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, he gets fucking exposed to nuclear radiation, and like everybody's like, "Oh, the aliens are gonna be here. They're coming back," and like it's just Mr. Burns coming through the fucking woods, glowing green. He's like, "Hello."
Right. I don't watch this. I'd rather jack off with a cheese grater than watch The Simpsons or any animated show.
So you'd rather just jack off?
Pretty much. Naturally, the two men were freaked out and started running to the house. They rushed inside and slammed the door behind them. The rest of the people wanted to know what was going on, naturally, when you got two fucked up, crazy guys, hysterical guys coming in. And basically they told them there was something in the woods. Everyone was still skeptical of the story. That they thought they were playing a joke on them at this time.
Obviously.
They thought they were playing a joke. But it does, trust me, everybody comes to a conclusion of what this fucking is by the time this ends. Where was I? Jesus. Now, at this point, like I said, they were thinking maybe they were pulling their legs, but the women of the house that were in the house didn't want to take it too much further to scare the kids, so they sent them to bed. Billy Ray and his friends were so freaked out that they grabbed two guns.
Billy Ray
Taylor.
Billy Railer.
They grabbed two guns and they said they needed to guard the doors. So one of them went to the back door to guard it. The others were starting to think that the joke was getting a little carried away when someone spotted something standing in the back of the house through the back porch.
Like in the back porch, like within the
in
dwelling,
the yard,
or okay,
in the yard. It had a screened-in back porch. Someone screamed, and Billy looked in the backyard and he fired a shot through from the house from his .22 rifle, and it seemed to hit whatever was standing there. The humanoid body fell backwards. As the creature fell backward, it made a strange metallic sound, which is kind of odd. So, we're going under the assumption that this is an alien or some sort of creature that came in a craft. Could it be like a lot of people think that maybe the Greys or whatever are actually just, droids of some sort or, androids.
Yes.
So
I'm listening. I was responding to a stream chat.
So this could just be some kind of AI robot because of the metal noise. Whatever.
It's just a giant one of those. What were they fucking called? Or what were they called? The toy robot that was like super fucking like revolutionary back in the day. That like actually kind of moved and lit up.
The one that just moved its arm.
Yeah, it was like
looked like a rock.
It's just a giant robot. One of those in the middle of the fucking yard. They're like, it's a goddamn monster robot, and they're like, no, this is just an experimental version of this. I'm sorry, we've gotten it into your backyard, sir. Please excuse us. Here's some whiskey and your cousin's butthole for your consideration in our apologies.
Whatever it was that he shot at, he apparently hit, and it fled back into the woods. Billy walked out into the back porch to make sure that the creature retreated into the woods. He lifted he had his gun aimed at the woods, but as he was aiming the gun at the tree line, all of a sudden a hand reached down from the roof of the back porch and grabbed at Billy Ray's hair. One of the ladies saw this and grabbed Billy and pulled him back into the house. Luckily, Lucky was his buddy's name that went to the well with him. Obviously a nickname. We covered this last week. Nicknames are big in the South. He went out to the back porch and fired a shot up through the roof of the back porch. And another creature jumped down off the roof and ran back off to the woods. This creature also, when it fell off the roof, it also made a metallic rattle like the other one did when it got shot. Now everyone was back inside the house. JC, the third male there, grabbed his 20-gauge shotgun. Now there was no doubt Billy Ray and Lucky were not playing a crazy joke on the others because multiple people in the house have seen whatever it was.
Oh yeah, and I have a couple backtracks here. One, there's no legitimacy being added to this story by the fact that it involves somebody named Billy Ray and somebody named Lucky.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Okay, Travi. It's a fucking name. And Billy Ray is... Double names are big in the South. Becky Sue, Billy Ray, Billy Bob.
Name one of them that has a PhD at the end of it.
I'm sure there fucking is.
Second.
That you're stereotyping.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're here for.
No, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, continue.
If this isn't like an actual documentary podcast where we're like, Yes, we're here with Professor Xavier Longbottom to talk about fucking rectal prolapse. And 2, why is there never anybody that's like, in these situations when you're dealing with an alien or a ghost or anything like that, there's never that one person that's like, what the fuck do you think the gun's gonna do, you idiot?
What are you talking about?
Everybody's like, oh, grab the gun. It's like, bitch, if this is all true, it just landed from the sky in an unexplainable way, and it fucking is like nothing we've ever seen before. Why the fuck do you think a gun's gonna, what, and then they're like, oh, they shot at it and they missed. Yeah, because it was probably like, and just shoot the shotgun shell away. Just lock the doors.
So you're saying basically grabbing a gun and firing at this creature that is so advanced is useless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, oh, just lock the fucking doors.
It's better than anything else.
If they can,
it works for vampires.
If they can take care of if a gun doesn't affect them, a deadbolt's not going to stop them either.
Yeah, but at least you're not shooting at them and pissing them off.
That's human nature. When I guarantee you right now, if you saw a light flash and saw a creature walking outside these windows, you would grab one of the guns in this fucking house. Guarantee it. It's human nature to protect yourself with what's ever.
I don't know. I feel like if it did it to this house, they'd be better off because we'd be like,
but it's human nature.
All right, as long as you're not going to kill us and like harvest our organs, you want to talk about cool space stuff?
But it's human.
That's the other thing. Why is there never that? There's like never the curiosity where somebody's like, where somebody's like, whoa, where are you from, man? Like that never happens.
Hold on. Let me make sure you're. Keep talking.
But you know what I mean? Like,
make sure
there's never the curiosity killed the cat guy that like tries to just. Well, I mean, there is, but those stories never fucking amount to anything. It seems like.
Well, it's human. It's just human nature to grab whatever it is. How many TV movies have you seen, or where a wife hears something?
It just grabs the biggest fucking butcher knife in the house.
That literally happens. I've heard shit. I remember one time.
That was the ghost.
I remember one time at my old home when I was still married, we heard something. Now, I didn't grab a bat because I didn't keep a bat by the bed.
Yeah, there's always bats, too.
I did not keep that. That was in the car.
Or like that fucking episode of that show that Aaron was on when I had to ask her why her mom slept with a goddamn butcher knife next to the bed.
But I had, I immediately grabbed a fucking gun. I went and walked the perimeter.
I like how you said it. I walked the perimeter.
I walked around the freaking house.
Did you put on that little shoulder-mounted radio and shit? You were like, it's all clear.
I was in my BVDs and a T-shirt.
Sector 4 is clear.
And a 9mm. Clearing
tucked
the
into
yard.
Your junk?
What?
Tucked into your junk? You got a junk gun?
That motherfucker was cocked and loaded, and I'm not talking about my dick.
Well, we all know that.
But that's human nature. Whenever you hear something, I've heard shit here, and kind of got up and looked around for something to grab. Of course, there's more likely somebody here is trying to get in. Trust me. Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh no.
But it's human nature. If you have a gun, you're going to shoot at whatever it is. You're not rationalizing, oh, this is an advanced species.
Oh no, in a situation like this, like I feel like that's why the term "curiosity killed the cat" is a thing.
It gets fucking worse.
Because you have guys like me, or possibly even you, in the right situation where we'd be like, "This is probably a bad idea, but
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Let's go check this out."
But trust me, this story gets worse. These aren't the only shots fired in the story. At this point, the group was trying to wrap their head around what just happened. They began to brainstorm ideas about what things they were actually seeing. One person said that they were, gotta remember, before I state this is 55, Kentucky. Odds are you're going to have some religious fanatic in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately that person went to, this is a demon sent from hell trying to bring them all to hell. Another thought that they might be some of the goblins from the urban legends that were said to dwell in the Kentucky caves, hence why this story and the goblin story have kind of merged over time, despite the appearance of the so-called ETs. Billy Ray was convinced that it had something to do with the UFO that he spotted landing or crashing in the woods, which odds are he's probably right. Or it was just one hell of a quinky dink. A UFO went down, and then all of a sudden we started hearing, or they started seeing all these goblins. All of a sudden, the adults heard a scream from the children's room where the children were sleeping, and they heard the children running from the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
The kids told them they saw something large with glowing eyes staring at them from outside the window. They took the kids to another room in the back, away from the actions, and it wasn't long before they heard several screams coming from that room as another creature was looking at them through the window again. JC ran into the room and fired a shot through the window from his 20 gauge shotgun. Again, the creature fell backwards and retreated.
In my head, JC's going to be Jesus Christ.
No.
For the rest of the story.
No. For the next,
Jesus Christ shot the goblin. It's just like the Bible.
For the next 2 hours, the creatures would mess with the group inside the house, scratching on the walls and their faces appearing in the windows. When they would look outside, they could see them moving around the yard, coming in and out of the wooded area. Apparently, the creatures / aliens basically had them under siege, had them trapped in the house. Whatever they were, it seemed they never tried to enter the house other than on the roof. They were on the roof, but they never tried to come through the doors or anything. Maybe they were afraid. There were a bunch of kids afraid of getting shot, but I don't know. But
They're just like laying on the roof, fucking like rubbing it and licking it.
Well, he was on the roof. That one was on the roof that earlier, grabbed Billy Ray's hair as he shot the one, or he went out to see if he hit the one. But what was really odd, whatever it was, she seemed to show a particular interest in the kids. And whenever they got too close to the windows, the three men would just continue fire off shots from inside the house.
That's a good call. You're not hitting anything. Just keep using ammunition and putting holes in the windows and shit. Because let's be real, once you shoot the window like a good 4 times, there's just not going to be a window there anymore.
That's true, especially with the 20 gauge.
Yeah, they're really making good calls here. They're really thinking about the safety of their family and loved ones.
But
shoot inside and shoot out the barriers between us and the things.
Glass was flying. But according to the group's story, which they recounted to police later on, they estimated there were approximately 4 of the beings, and they fired approximately 100 shots, 100 rounds of ammunition at these fuckers.
And they didn't hit a goddamn thing. What are they, stormtroopers?
Actually, no, they hit something.
Oh,
we'll come back. We'll come.
Was it one of the family members?
No, it was not human.
Okay,
it was not human. Excuse me. Around 11.
Well, let's be honest. You said they're not human. That doesn't really rule out a potential family member here.
Sure. Around 11 p.m., the interaction with the creatures seemed to slow down. They saw a brief window where they can make an escape and get out of the house. They hopped into 2 trucks and fled the property. The family showed up at a local police station in Hopkinsville. The group, in a panic, told the officers that aliens had attacked their home. The on-duty officer heard their claims and must have thought they were crazy, as anybody would, hearing that kind of shit.
As we all do right now.
As the family continued to tell them the story, he quickly found out the family believed they encountered something, but the question is what? At this point, the officer knew that a gun battle had happened, probably in his mind between neighbors, and he had to send some people out to investigate. Now, the town of Kelly is just outside of Hopkinsville, if I'm not mistaken. It's a very small town in southwestern Kentucky. He arranged for officers to head over to the property and check it out. Now, the group that showed up of officers were 4 city police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police from Fort Campbell, which is close to the house.
Man, this must be a really fucking boring area.
Well, I'm sure it is. In 1955, of course it was.
Like that, what was Harold and Kumar go to White Castle?
I've never seen that fucking movie.
They called in the fake shooting, and like all of the they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a shooting. There's a guy shooting. I think it's a black guy." And every cop in the station was like, "No, I'm going," and they just left the fucking people. They just left them in the jail cell completely by themselves. That's what happened here. Otis the drunk from Andy Griffith's show was just Jay chilling in the sheriff's fucking chair, drinking his coffee after they all ran out.
Maybe. But anyway.
It adds up.
The officers, when they arrived, they found what looked like a war zone in the house. Windows shot out, bullet holes in the walls and door frames. Something definitely happened at this house. Obviously, they shot the fucking house. The group wasn't delusional, and they believed they saw something. And so they definitely weren't making it up. There was shots fired in this house, so they weren't lying about that. No,
I would hope not. Like, what are you're gonna lie about that? Be like, this house looks pretty good for that many shots. Well, I'm a really good shot officer.
Now, they really couldn't find a lot of evidence about when it comes to the shooting. However, during the investigation, one officer did spot something glowing in the woods, but nothing could be found when they went and searched the area. It quickly went away. The only thing the officers did find was a strange substance where one of the creatures was shot at. The group, it wasn't blood, and they, it's 1955. They didn't have a lot of
like Play-Doh or whatever's inside of a Stretch Armstrong.
Well, they didn't have a lot of technology to check. They didn't have Abby from NCIS to run it through the spectrum analysis machine.
Their scientific deduction was, the fuck is this shit?
It was some sort of ooze.
Kind of smells like cum, but it's green. I'm assuming it was green.
I don't think I saw what color it was.
Oh, it was cum. One of the hillbillies.
It was a hell of an orgasm if it was cum.
One of the hillbillies nutted from the shoot. He was like, I've always wanted to shoot my daddy's gun inside the house.
Anyway, they never found out what the substance was that I could find, but it wasn't blood. It was a strange ooze. We'll just go with that.
It was Ivan Ooze.
Yes.
The group Power Rangers movie.
The group was interviewed, and all of their stories lined up. Even the description of the creatures matched up pretty significantly. I mean, you're always going to get. Any interrogator will tell you when you're interviewing somebody, if the stories are exactly the same, it didn't happen because they
That's just as fishy as if they don't match up at
right, because they rehearsed what had happened. But when there are subtle and slight differences, that's when you need to take it into a little bit more account that something might have happened because everybody remembers things differently.
Like instead of having the perfect details nailed out, you're just like, and where was blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't fucking know, man. He was somewhere shooting a goddamn gun at a fucking alien. You gonna do something about this? There's alien cum in my fucking yard, Jim. Now,
the officers, the next morning, they were still there in the morning. Like I said, they got there somewhere around probably 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. They interviewed the neighbors, and they
left the local bar to go fucking investigate this.
Probably. I wouldn't blame them.
Fuck Jim, put that PBR on ice for me. I'll be back.
They interviewed the neighbors who corroborated the story. These neighbors also reported seeing lights in the sky that landed in the wooded area. The neighbors even reported hearing the gunshots, but they kind of thought maybe something was attacked. Maybe coyotes or wolves or what, I don't know I don't know, or a bear, black bear or something was, attacking their livestock or pigs or whatever. So they didn't, other than the lights were being strange, they didn't, immediately jump to, E.T. was attacking or laying siege to the Sutton's house.
Mm-hmm.
The police wrapped up their investigation and left the scene. The next night at about 3 a.m., Glennie, who was one of the wives, I believe that was the Sutton. I believe she's the Sutton who lived in the house.
Lenny came in and said, "I'm sorry about the alien, George. I didn't mean to hurt him."
But Glennie woke up and saw another one of the creatures peering through her window. The creatures did pretty much the same things, stayed outside the house and fucked with them, essentially, until sunrise.
Those are just tiny little creepers. Peepers,
Yeah.
creepers.
E.T.
Where'd you
peeping
get
toms.
those peepers?
The families and their friends with the second night of this happening were terrified, and they left the house in the morning after the whatever they were left.
Call me crazy. I'm leaving after the first, like, when the house got fucking shot up.
Yeah, but they went
Be
back.
like, why are you leaving, Barber Joe? Motherfucker, you just shot how many goddamn shotgun shells out the window? 1, that was scary. 2, now there's no fucking windows to keep them out. Billy Bob, you fucking idiot. What are you gonna put? Are you gonna put up some chicken wire?
Sure, electrical fence works for me.
Do you think they had electricity? I guess they could hook it up to
I'm
their.
sure they probably had.
They could hook it up to
electricity.
their truck.
Didn't have running water though.
Gross.
Well, 1955. That's why he. If you listen to the story, he went to the well to get water because they ran out of water.
I mean, call me crazy. I'd rather have electricity.
I'm sure they probably had electricity. I would imagine.
Unless there's a water wheel powered air conditioner, then maybe I'll take some running water.
But let's be honest, electricity in the story is irrelevant.
Yeah, because it would have been gone after they shot the whole goddamn house to pieces anyway.
Right.
Shot out all the windows and the electrical box. Fuck.
Over the next few months, the story went national, and the Sutton family was harassed, and the other friends that were there, they were harassed for interviews and such. The Suttons seemed forthcoming with their story of that night to all the media. Naturally, the media turned on the group, and they became a punchline. They forced the family and friends to withdraw and shy away from talking about their experiences that night, which, most people, especially back then, even today, you say you saw something, it's a little bit more accepting now, but if we walked out here and said we saw something, some light in the sky or some kind of being walking in the backyard, there's going to be some haters. We're going to get some shitty comments. Even today.
But then that makes my mind go to a different place.
What?
Do we think there's military, or not military, but government involvement in this? Because that is a known tactic of the government.
What do you mean?
Is to illegitimize people's stories and just kind of make them like a hee-hee-ha-ha, you stupid idiot.
That's very possible. I mean, at this time, this was after Roswell, naturally, and the government did want to, the military and government at this time, a lot of the negative thoughts or the negative reputation some of these people, witnesses and experiencers got was because of the hounding and the people saying that they were, crazy, which was a tactic used by the military to, kind of make people seem crazy so they didn't have to answer any more questions. It's easier.
Plus throw in fucking childish neighbors that they don't get along with too, probably.
Right.
Oh, you're the neighbor of these people. What do you think? Oh, she's a frumpy bitch. I don't like her. She's probably lying.
Yeah, I mean,
but like I said, on the serious note, that is a military and government. That's a known tactic that they use.
It is a tactic. Now, there have been people that have been fortunate enough to interview or talk to the members of this group, and they always remark about how the story has never changed over, over the decades. Essentially, I'm sure everybody's pretty much dead, and the kids are probably, in their 70s now. The kids were, the youngest kids would be in their 70s.
55. I mean, even if they were born that year, they'd be 70 in 2025.
If they were, they'd be, in 2025 they'd be 70. But these were, not necessarily infants. So most of them are probably either passed away by now.
Yeah.
The Sutton family,
probably for the best.
Eventually, the Sutton family did leave the property a few months after the events of that night. The reason was not only the constant harassment from people and reporters bombarding their house, but the fear whatever these things were would come back.
Yeah, you would think so. You shot at them a fuckload of times. Apparently, you hit one, and they did come back. So, of course, they're going to come back theoretically.
Now, as in any UFO story or any cryptid story or any conspiracy story or any non-mainstream story, there's always two sides to the story. There's always the true believers and the skeptics. we're gonna get to skeptics here in a second, but the officers on the scene that night were shocked by the sheer panic in the Suttons and their guests. That's what really made them feel that they did experience something. They don't know what the officers I'm talking about didn't know what they experienced. They were in a gun battle. They didn't know what.
Mm-hmm.
They were in a gun, and that was legitimate. That was real. So their fear was correlated with what happened. Now, they didn't know what they got in a gun battle with or what they were firing 100 shots at.
Right.
But no matter what, the encounter, they were convinced that they did.
They seen something.
They seen something. And the family and the friends, they were convinced it was some sort of either cryptid or alien, which they were leaning toward aliens by this point. Now, skeptics have always said that the family just misidentified things on the property, and they went basically, they had a battle with something common. Now, some skeptics have
a bunch of fucking raccoons.
Now, a lot of skeptics say because this is Kentucky and the South does get stereotyped a lot, they were just drunk on moonshine.
I was gonna ask when does the theory that there was alcohol or drugs?
There was no alcohol. They were fairly religious people. None of them drank.
Just communion.
No, they probably saw the Baptists. Baptists don't do communion. Don't do wine.
Oh, I'm in Kentucky and I'm loving on the Lord.
Catholics are the only ones that do fucking wine.
I know.
Everybody else does fucking grape juice. Wow.
I was literally like just sitting here waiting to ask when or who threw out alcohol or drugs.
So they went to now if you're fucking shit-faced, what's the one place you stay the fuck away from?
I don't know.
One place you're going to stay away from if you're shit-faced.
I've seen a lot of drunk people involve themselves with the cops by their own doing.
Because they're stupid fuckers. If you're halfway intelligent, you steer clear. You drive out of your way.
Oh god! I just saw the video of the fucking 911 call recently of some lady that called 911, and he was like, 911, what's your emergency? She's like, I need the fire department because my pussy's on fire. Yeah, it was a hilarious video. You know, the ones where they just have like the shitty like stock photo of blurry cop lights and then the dictation of the 911 call. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So really, the cops would have known if they were drunk when they showed up. Especially
if the cops were sober.
Well, the first cop they talked to was at the police station.
So?
And I guarantee
you seen
probably
every TV show where the sheriff always has a bottle of fucking bourbon in his... What's with that? I know this is a sidebar like a motherfucker.
That doesn't happen.
But why is there so many bottles of liquor in bottom fucking drawers of people's desks in film?
Because the movie industry needs to make things interesting. And that honestly doesn't happen.
Horrible Bosses had the best version of it. Did you ever see Horrible Bosses with Charlie Day and Jason Sudeikis? Oh, it's got yeah. When he goes in to talk to
Bateman.
Kevin Spacey, yeah. When he goes in to talk to Kevin Spacey and he like starts pouring a drink, would you like one? And he was like, no. He was like, he said something about it being like 9 a.m. and he was like, so are you judging me? And then he was like. He hands him one. He was like, where's yours? He was like, he was like, oh, yeah, sure, I guess. It's a little early, but I'll have one. And he hands it to him. He's like, aren't you going to have one? And he was like, no, Jesus Christ, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not an alcoholic. That's the most realistic version of the fucking available liquor. And that's my other thing is he had a little bar. I can buy that in like a fucking big wig office or something like that. Like you have a little mini bar. Why the fuck is there? It's all like there's just always what you just always have a bottle of gin in your fucking bottom shelf, just cause it's been a hard day being a sheriff in this nowhere town. I've had to deal with 2 complaints about overgrown grass and 1 person with a badly painted fence. I need a drink.
By the way, fuck you twice.
What?
I'm reading the comments now.
What are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's not my name.
I'm on necessary evil your ass.
And now we circle back to what we were talking about at the beginning of this.
Gregory, I don't need shit out of you either.
What?
I'm having a hard time reading because Travis keeps fucking talking and I'm losing my space. I'm stupid. I can't fucking remember where I was.
We've overloaded his circuits.
Anyway.
We're fried his motherboard.
Anyway, let's get back to the skeptics of this fucking story.
Because there's a lot. I mean, I have to say, like,
Now,
I wouldn't say this story's any more horrifically far-fetched than a lot of other ones, but, like, this one in particular, it's the environment that spurs a lot of potential questions. Like, you're far away from everybody, like, it's the middle of the night.
actually, no, it was the evening. It wasn't the middle of the night. They were at
That's the middle of the night.
They were at the police station at 11 p.m.
I thought you said it was like 1.
No.
Or they responded at 1.
The investigation was going on.
Okay, so then why is there so much question of what they saw?
There's not a question of what they saw. They know what they saw.
Mm.
What are you talking about, question of what they saw?
There wasn't enough detail. Was the sun still out?
If you listen to the fucking story when I was in the beginning, he went to the goddamn fucking well.
And there was sunset. Where's the rest of the details?
They went in, was talking about it. They went back out, and even in my notes, and I said it on the goddamn fucking podcast, when him and Lucky went out, the sun had set. So it was dark at this point.
I don't know. It's missing details. Especially if they're in the windows.
You're just being fucking difficult tonight.
Well, they're in the windows. No, because this is the same. There's the same details that are missing from all of these stories. Like, they all give the same descriptions. Not the same descriptions, but they describe the same things. It's always their eyes, their height, and their limbs. That's it. That's the only details you ever get from any of this shit.
That's all you get from description on even a bank robber.
What color were they?
Their fucking eyes. You don't get. You're just fucking being difficult tonight.
Yeah, but a bank robber's trying to cover their identity.
Okay.
These things are in the middle of the fucking woods looking in your windows.
Let's get to the skeptics. Now, the biggest skeptic the biggest thing that the skeptics talk about is the great horned owl, which gets a lot of cryptid. That's always the go-to for skeptics.
It's just very far-fetched in most situations. Coming from a skeptical person, obviously, that's a bit far-fetched.
The only thing, the great horned owl is not big enough.
That's the one that they also say could be Mothman.
Right. Because the famous say these creatures were roughly 3.5 feet tall, which the great horned owl is not 3 feet tall. The great horned owl does not.
Could it be, though? Just to play devil's advocate? Because they are they're not small birds.
You could get a bigger, I guess, the Shaquille O'Neal of great horned owls, but 3 or 4 of them, I don't know. Maybe the great horned owl basketball team.
Like, in my head, I'm also thinking, like, deforestation and loss of habitat. Maybe back then it could have been more common.
Yeah, but there was a lot of wood. It wasn't as bad in rural Kentucky.
All that aside, we can both agree on the fact that an owl being responsible for any of this is fucking ridiculous.
It's stupid.
Maybe if they saw one off in the distance and they couldn't exactly tell what it was, and there was nothing other than that, maybe an owl at that point. But there's not owls on your roof trying to grab your boyfriend by the hair and fucking stare. When the fuck have you ever heard of an owl staring in a goddamn window?
That I can believe.
Like happened. Just walking up.
That I can believe happened. But owls, when they attack their prey,
they're flying.
They come from up high down low.
It's not like the secret of Nim.
They don't go like Maverick and Top Gun and fucking buzz the tower. They attack from up.
You even use the term.
Jesus. Now the only thing about the
you did just watch the movie, so it's fair.
The original one. I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah, no. I immediately am throwing out owl here. That's fucking horse shit.
The only thing with the owl that makes somewhat sense. I should say 2 things. Okay, the ears could make it look like pointy.
I could get the appearance to an extent,
and that owl does have yellow eyes. So
don't most of them technically?
Yeah,
but here's my other thing. How many? They said there was 4.
4 or 5.
Owls don't travel in packs. They're solitary creatures.
Correct.
Owls don't like to be near other owls.
And if these things were moving around the yard, coming up to the window, if it was an owl, you would see fucking wings.
And you would fucking be able to tell anyway, because they'd be doing that stupid little bird hop that they do.
Right.
It's like I said, this isn't the secret of Nim. They're not just stomping around like fucking all-powerful beings. They're fucking owls. This was not an owl, Sheriff Deputy Jones, whatever the fuck the sheriff's name was.
Right. Now, a lot of naturally skeptics always say they did it for the fame and money. But
that's usually the most plausible, like, if it's not true, reasoning for any of this, because it oftentimes works and oftentimes gets debunked, but it still works. Like, they still got what they wanted.
If they did it for the money, they were fucking dumb as hell. They shot up their fucking house. They didn't turn a profit if they did it for money. I mean, why would you shoot?
I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying
no,
like,
that's
like they're completely okay. Like, I'm cool with the skeptics bringing that up because that's a fucking thing.
In this scenario, why would they shoot? If they hoaxed it,
they did a shit job of it.
They would have just shot the fucking from the yard.
Yeah.
Don't shoot.
If you're gonna hoax it, you would have gone and shot a great horned owl and plucked all its wings or its feathers and fucking dyed it a weird color and been like, here it is. Look at it. Look at it. I'm pretty sure that's a plucked owl. Shut the fuck up, Jerry.
Right. And they never made a lot of. They didn't make a ton of money from this. But why skeptics always
did they make money from this?
They did charge. They were getting a lot of people coming, and
for what?
To go through the house. Almost like a haunted house kind of thing. You know how people pay to go in a haunted house. They were charging people to come through the house. They did make a lot of money.
That does. Even I don't care how little money they made. That does kind of make me feel like
for 3 weeks they were on. I'm sorry, 3 or 4 months they were doing that. But they, according to them, and I'm taking them for the word. They just did that in hopes nobody would do it, and they would just leave them alone, give them off the property. If you want to come here, you're going to pay for it, kind of thing. But bottom line, they didn't make enough money for a poor family who was struggling probably in 55 in rural Kentucky. They didn't make enough money to pay for the damages of the fucking house.
Yeah, it's not a good look though.
It's not. Yeah, I will say that. I agree with that. I should say that's not a good look. But
if you're trying to lend to your own credibility, that's not a good look.
But they didn't. Now, yes, they did get a lot of headlines in the beginning, like any story.
Yeah, but you don't get dick off of that.
Yeah, you don't get dick off that. You know, and they didn't make what money they did make from it. Let's just say Steven
went back into replacing the fucking windows.
I doubt if Critters fucking gave them any royalties.
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't make
if there was any.
So they didn't make any money. Travis Walton got some money, books and movies.
Well, yeah. So, they used his name and shit.
Right. So I agree with you that taking money for people to go through a house is a little fucking sketchy. But also, if I went through this,
I don't say I can't say I blame them.
Right, yeah.
But like it's almost kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know what I mean? Because I understand if that's why they did it, just because it's like, well, let's get it over with, and if you want to come here, we might as well make some money off it. I can't say that I don't understand that thought process, but I don't want to hear you bitch when people say bring that up against your legitimacy. Like, that's a fair argument for somebody to say, motherfucker, you're literally charging people just to walk through your house. And, like, how much what do you charge by the square foot? Like, 11 cents?
I'd probably say, fuck all you guys in the chat. You know, I'll kiss my fucking ass.
It's really just me and him.
Yeah, everybody can kiss my fucking ass.
But, yeah, like...
You will lose your damn administrator with a quickness.
But, yeah, it's not... Again, I can't blame them for doing it, but don't fucking complain when people want to call you out about that with that as evidence of you being full of shit.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think this story, what we commonly know as the Greys now, their appearance, you know, with the eyes and big heads and, you know, long, skinny arms and skinny legs, that comes from this story. Take out the pointed ears. It's morphed. The ears have shrunk down.
Well, wasn't the Grey, the traditional Grey started with Barney and Betty Hill, didn't it?
This was
mainstream.
This was before Barney.
Was it?
Yeah, I think. Weren't they in that in the 60s? I think Barney Hill was in the I think that was in the 60s.
I don't know. You know how I am with this stuff. Like, I enjoy aliens and I think that they're out there, but like it's not. This isn't usually the one like my hard on. So these details get fuzzy for me.
I'm Googling it. Let's see here.
It's pretty easy to Google. They're still quite famous. It's crazy. No, I thought Betty and Barney Hill were before this, I think.
I thought that was in the 60s.
I thought it was in like the 40s. I could be entirely off here. Like I said, I don't bookmark these dates for shit like this in my head.
September 19th or 20th, 1961.
So still old as fuck.
Yes, but this story predates it.
But I am correct in saying that Betty and Barney Hill were a more traditional description of what we know as a gray, correct? From my knowledge of that story.
Yes, but this was the first.
It sounds like they saw Mike Wazowski.
Who the fuck's that?
Monsters, Inc., the little green guy.
Oh.
You have kids. Don't act like you've never seen it.
I don't know their fucking names.
Hey, Monsters, Inc. was a pretty good flick.
Maybe. It was all right.
It had some good emotion. When he put the last piece of the sliver of the door back in, and it worked, and he opened it, she said, "Kitty!" And there's a really fucked up, like, theory behind that whole movie. It's crazy. Super sad. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, all these stories, all of the descriptions in all alien stories or UFO stories are always missing like one good detail to tie it all together.
Well,
like a color or like the ones that where like they might not see the face is always the ones you get a skin texture from. You know what I mean? Like there's always, it's like you're playing fucking, it's like cat and mouse with details. Like if you gain a detail here, you lose another one somewhere else and shit like that. So it's the waters just stay so fucking muddy.
What separates this from things like Betty and Barney Hill,
yeah,
the Travis Walton story, and most other?
I will say also, I think the Travis Walton story is that one seems very far fetched to me.
Right.
And there's a lot of reasons for that.
UFO encounters in general, you're still taking. Most of them are just, hey, I saw this. Yeah. You might have a few people that also saw it too, and maybe if you're lucky, it's people that weren't in that group or an outside person saw it as well who can say, yeah, we saw this too. What makes this story interesting?
Good.
What makes this story interesting? These motherfuckers were in a battle. They were in a gunfight. That's what makes it interesting.
Or at least what they perceive to be one.
They saw something. There's no doubt they saw something because they were shooting at fucking something.
See, and that's my other thing is like,
Question
I know,
is what?
And I know this is, we've already kind of had this conversation, but like, is there any talk of whether there was legitimate moves of aggression towards them after the first encounter?
You mean other nights?
Like even just that night. Like
well,
yeah, they might have been there and you might have seen them, but like that doesn't mean like stop fucking shooting.
The only true,
I get you're scared, but
the only true sign of aggression was when Billy Ray,
when the hand
from when he was out on the back porch after he shot the one, reached out.
Which maybe he just had wavy locks, and that's part of my other thing is like, if there was no overt sign of aggression towards them, like.
Well, let's be honest. People that live out in Kentucky or in the
just shoot everything.
You come on the property, you're gonna get shot.
What's that? I don't know. Did it move? Shoot it.
People in the country, they shoot first, ask questions later.
Well, yeah, that's true, and we are dealing with like people far out enough that like there's a lack of information and knowledge about a lot of things, and things you don't know anything about are scary. And then you throw in, well, we shoot stuff. It just all kind of lines
Well,
up,
like, I don't
unfortunately.
fault anybody who, trust me, if I hear noise outside here, the first thing I'm going for is a gun. Just to be safe. Whether it's a fucking great horned owl or a meth head. I don't give a fuck. I'm going for a gun first.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of this too realistically.
Well,
Because if I was in this scenario, like if I looked out the blinds right now, or like tonight, and saw what I believe to be an alien, I'm not going straight for a gun. I'm going to go...
how much did I fucking drink today?
Yeah, I'm going to be like, nah. And I'm going to look again, and I'm going to pause again and be like...
Well,
all right.
for instance, like when we went to Raw's Opera House, we came back here, and we were sitting there, and that lady
Oh,
started
God.
running through the gate. Her boyfriend was chasing her in the car. She ran up to
Yeah, the one that
door.
was asking him if he was going to hit her again, and then
Right.
he said, I've never hit you, and she said, I know.
Yeah, that was classic. But when I got up, what did I tell you?
What?
When I was going to the door to meet her at the door,
Mm-hmm.
what did I tell you? I said, anything happens, reach in that
Oh, yeah,
compartment right there. You know, because because at that time I kept my gun, one of the guns, in that little hidden
In that place.
in that hidden compartment.
Yeah.
And because that was actually back before I had I think the gun safe. Let's say,
You had the gun safe.
Did I have the gun safe then?
Did you have both of them, though?
Yeah, because I got both. Anyway, but you know, that's my first inclination is because it's my mentality to think that I prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So just like in any situation in a bar, something starts to pop off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm preparing for fucking war, and hope it doesn't go to that. So if it does, I'm going to prepare. If I hear a strange noise, I'm immediately thinking, A, somebody's trying to get in this fucking house. And hope it's just a fucking bird or a cat, you know, on the windowsill or something. You know, that's my mentality.
You're going to hear something one night and open the door all crazy with the fucking gun. And it's going to be like some little 4-year-old and be like, I'm lost and I don't know where I am and I'm scared. And then you're going to shoot him.
That's why black-eyed...
Wait, hold on, what?
What?
Try that again?
No, black-eyed kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
fuck that.
That we're going to do.
I never
again,
understood. That one always killed me too. Is like you like maybe 1 in 10 stories about black-eyed kids. Do you hear the person go, "Nope," slam the door?
That would be me, though.
Yeah, because like you never hear about them entering. Like they're like vampires.
There are stories of them entering.
No, but they're like
Oh.
vampires. Like I've never heard one where they entered without permission, or
Right.
without like.
Right, yeah, they
Yeah.
need permission to enter. But you picked the wrong thing to try to get into my house.
That's what I'm saying.
Fuck
Like
you, kid.
I would look that kid dead in the eye and be like, either you did way too many drugs, or you're a black-eyed child, and either way, you are not coming in. Sorry.
I don't like kids anyway. I barely like my own.
At that point, you just fucking flick them in the face with a quarter and be like, there you go, get on the bus, fuckface.
You went into this house and you're a demon or whatever they are. Be a
The only demons coming into this house are crawling out of our assholes after we eat the wrong
be a
food.
big blonde boobied woman with a dragon on her, and I'll say, "Come on in."
I don't
Hence
think
the
a dragon
boobies
would
and
fit in
dragon.
here.
Well, the little when they were little, would be all right.
Well, you know, I mean, it might have been able to before we rented out the other 25,000 square feet of this warehouse in Hollywood.
But you fucking one in my house. Don't send kids. Send a good-looking chick. Guess what? Come on in.
And if you're gonna send kids, send one like I said earlier.
Yes.
Send like a small, innocent-looking child that's clearly terrified and like doesn't know where their parents are, and I'll be like, "Well, you're not coming in, but like, I'll fucking let me get my phone. We'll call someone."
Yes, better call somebody. Anyway, we'll kind of get into this. We're wrapping this one up. Let me get back to it so I can read some shit. Uh-oh. I lost it. Oh, fuck.
See, and that's the other thing with stories such as this one is, there's the stories that you can really break into, and then there's the stories like this that are, I would almost venture to say, unfortunately anecdotal. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no. I didn't hear anything about police reports, like, to a past just a mentioning of anything like that. Like, it's just all either you believe them or you don't.
Well, that's most encounters.
Yeah. Well, and that's my problem with all this shit is, like, you know me, we do this shit, we live together. You know how I feel on a lot of this shit. Like, I believe in aliens and shit, but I don't believe in them in this capacity like a lot of people do. Like, I don't think, I'm not the guy from Ancient Aliens. I don't think they're just coming down here and dropping off shit and fucking killing cattle and shit like that. I don't think they're just in and out all the time. I just accept that mathematically it's impossible that there's not other intelligent life out there. They may have been here, they may have not. I don't fucking know. I probably never will know for sure. Not by the time I'm dead. Unless they come and take me and they're like, "You're our pet now," and I'll be like, "Sweet, you got fried chicken?"
Like I stated earlier, this case is different because there's actual something happened. Most of these cases, you're hearing about somebody's experience.
Mm-hmm.
This, you get to see what happened because of this experience. These motherfuckers shot up the house.
Well, which is still hoaxable, but
Well,
I
it's
mean,
still
now
hoaxable,
that being
makes it
said,
far-fetched.
it is far-fetched
Right.
to think that this family would do this extent of damage to their dwelling
Just
for
to-
a hoax,
Right.
without making a major monetary gain from it. That being said, we also don't know if they did possibly make a monetary gain off of it.
I guarantee it wasn't
Or
much.
more legitimate than what we know of. It wouldn't surprise me if it came out that they did.
Just from in a 3-month period from people wanting to come in the house to go through the house. No, they didn't make enough money to cover the fucking.
Not in
damage.
that area. If it was fucking
No.
L.A., maybe.
Now, if you want to talk about book deals and movie deals, if it was more recent, yeah,
Mhm.
then you're talking.
Oh.
They could have gotten to the black and got out of the red.
The only black that citizens of Kentucky in 1955 were interested in.
All right, there you go.
And coal.
Yes.
I was born a coal miner daughter.
Now, this story does go a lot deeper and continues even here recently.
Oh, because of the TV show.
Because of the show Hellier.
Hell yeah, brother.
Apparently, Greg and Dana Newkirk received. The first season was basically about. It had a tie to the Kentucky Goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether or not. I don't. It's been so long since I've seen that. It's. Whether.
I haven't even seen the second season, so if you start talking about the second season.
No, it's the first season.
It's all spoilers for me.
The first season's mainly. About.
Well, the first season was basically a big-ass expose on the idea of the whole thing.
Well, no, it started with they got a letter. They had, back in 2012, if my memory serves me right, he had gotten a letter from a doctor in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And he had a goblin-type encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what this the Sutton family encountered, just without the gunfire, I guess.
That one kind of fucking red flagged me at the beginning of that show because I was like, of course it's a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just some hilljack dude in the hills. Like, let's make it a doctor. Let's make it a former military man or a former cop. Like, the people that you want to listen to because they know stuff and they're trustworthy.
I mean, if I remember correctly, they found out it was a false identity. Nobody by that. There was no doctor in that area. It was whoever wrote the letter was either pulling their leg or was lying about. It's been so long since I've seen it. I wanted to go back and watch it. I just didn't have the time. Maybe we'll do a follow-up, like a Wednesday, about that portion of this story. But there, like I said, there are a lot of goblin-type sightings in Kentucky with the cave system and. Man, I'm not 100% sure this is extraterrestrial. Maybe this was more cryptid. And the lights in the sky was just
Or it's human. Look at Gollum. He was a normal hobbit. Look what happened to him.
There's
Speculatively and theoretically, there could be this type of a mutation. Like, I don't even want to call it a mutation. There could be that, like, there could potentially be this level of physical adaptation by somebody that is from a community that has survived in those cave systems for 200-300 years.
very true. I mean, we don't know what the fuck. We haven't explored a lot of those cave systems in Kentucky. The Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth, yeah, I've been there.
I don't think we've explored a majority of that. That runs
I know
deep.
I've been there. It's cool. That's all I know about it. But, well, I mean, it's just like, I mean, totally. I mean, kind of sidebar. But speaking of caves, have you ever seen that one that's in like Laos or some shit like that? You could fit
Vietnam?
like something like that. You could fit like fucking like 10 football fields in the entrance of the cave, or some shit like that. It's so cool. You'll have to look up a picture of it sometime. It's really cool.
Yep.
Totally unrelated to this. It just we started talking about caves.
But we don't know what's in these caves.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't know.
And like you could literally, I think they said like you could put like the entrance to this cave from like the base of it to like the actual entrance at the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can put like the Empire State Building in there or something like that from top to bottom.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's just like a massive cavernous. Like it's got this cavern of the entrance of this thing, and this does kind of lead down the breadcrumb trail of this potentially being human mutation. This cave is so big that the cavern at the head of the cave where you enter it has its own weather patterns.
Really?
Yeah, it's super cool. It's got like a water system and shit like that. Like, it's fucking crazy.
You know, another thing that you mentioned in the beginning, the feral people.
Mm-hmm.
We know there is that concept that maybe Bigfoot is these mountain feral people.
Mm-hmm.
Have just
if I had to pick a route to say that I believe most in, I would go with that one for Bigfoot.
Maybe feral people. Some of these feral people went into the cave system.
Mm-hmm.
You get in the dark. Not to be crude.
It's very plausible. That happened. There was a part of one of the Native American tribes that were driven into living in the caves.
I mean, and with years in the decades upon decades in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be rude, but a little bit of inbreeding going on.
Mm-hmm.
Things are gonna fucking look deformed.
Yeah. And when you have such an extreme
dare
departure,
I say goblin-esque.
And when you have such an extreme departure from what you normally have environmentally, you're probably going to see some drastic changes that might not be the proper changes in a shorter period of time, because your population isn't going to be able to survive with the tools that we have as surface-dwelling human beings. You're fucked. Like, your eyes are useless. The way our eyes sit right now, they're fucking useless. What?
Nothing.
You're trying to adjust your eyes to cave depth?
Yes. I mean, who knows what the... And even think about if feral people could change with maybe hundreds of years or decades or whatever in a cave system or in the mountains away from civilization.
Mm-hmm.
What about animals that would go down there? Wouldn't they the same...
I mean, that happens.
Like a bear or something. Just go in the cave and just a
look
loner bear.
Look at Darwin's finches.
Whatever that is, I have no idea.
That's where the theory of evolution started, was with finches in the Galapagos Islands.
I'm a creationist. I believe.
Same.
God created the Earth in 7 days.
It's
about 600 years old or whatever.
That's where
2,000 years old.
That's where it all started. 4,000, I think, is what the Bible says. But yeah, that's where it all started. It started when he was in the Galapagos Islands. He's found these different finches, but he started toying around with the idea that maybe they're not so different after all. Maybe they're just different because they're in a different place.
Right.
And like now today we have fucking, like, in the Congo, you go into the Congo River and it moves so fast in certain points that, like, there will be a fish behind this rock in the calm behind the rock, and it'll be blue and green and fucking have a head shaped like a fucking oval. And then you go behind the rock 10 feet to the left, and there'll be like little orange and red fish with like a more triangular shaped head. But they're the same family of fish, and you can tell by the way their bodies look. And genetically, they're almost identical because they were probably the same fish, but fish A evolved over time to be able to survive perfectly behind this rock, and fish B did the same for that rock. So, yeah, you throw a couple hundred, or even, let's play devil's advocate here, 1,000 years of what would be speculative evolution of a humanoid thing or any other animal in a cave system that doesn't naturally, as we know it, belong there. Because, you know, we're going off of Christopher Columbus numbers, basically. Like, it could literally be, there could be a subspecies of humans that have been down in these cave systems for 1,000 years.
Right.
Just, we don't know it, because we don't even go that deep down, and they fucking live that far down. So take 1,000 years of extreme quick acting evolution on a human body or a humanoid body, or like you said, even a bear, like literally anything that is surface dwelling, and put it in a cave system for 1,000 years or 300 years. Some crazy shit's probably going to happen, as long as there's a population.
In some way.
As long as there's a population to keep feeding the population.
Right. And like Moon Unit says, you know, other senses are gonna. When you're in the dark, isn't most nocturnal animals? Don't their eyes do glow a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Because they pick up.
Because they reflect.
They reflect light.
Yeah.
So
the cats, dogs, all that shit. Yeah.
Any feral people or feral animals that would be in the dark more often, when they do come out, their eyes are naturally going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to adapt to that.
Well, because their eyes would be bigger.
Right.
Period.
Right. So whether or not they come from outer space or just some kind of normal, everyday Earth species that has mutated because of its where it inhabits, I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, too. That's what blows my mind with all these theories that a lot of people bring up is like, so people want to bring up the theory, like we're talking about, like what if it's a human or a humanoid that went down in these cave systems and evolved to this point, or de-evolved even, potentially. But what blows my mind is everybody throws that stuff out, but because it's a species or something that we can wrap our head around and we can fucking put our finger on potentially, it's better and less terrifying. And I call fucking bullshit. I would be less scared if it was a one-time interaction with an extraterrestrial than to find out, like, oh no, there's these crazy fucking things that have been here the whole time, and they're going to stay to being here because they are here. You know what I mean?
Well, there are those people that don't believe aliens or extraterrestrials are coming from outer space. They've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
Because
that's where I land. If we are having even remotely regular experiences or encounters with extraterrestrials, they're not coming down here for it.
What do you mean they're not coming?
They're not traveling here for it.
No, they're already here. Or
yeah, like why the fuck would they want to? What? Like that's my thing is they would have to have been here in my mind, because why the shit are they going to expend? Even if they're obviously they're massively technologically more advanced than us, but even then you would have to imagine that it is at least a what's the good word I'm looking for here? It would not be a negligible amount of energy and expense for them to travel at an interstellar rate from another place in the universe just to come here for what?
Well, you never.
Like, what are you going to learn? You're not going to learn dick. Not from us.
So you're looking at it as from our perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to energy and the amount of energy it would take to come here, maybe it's not that big of a deal to them.
But you would think it would still have to be a deal.
But,
you know what I'm saying? You got time, you've got quote unquote
I mean,
man
if
hours
they-
and shit like that. Like,
if they found some way to bend time and space and gravity, where the whole wormhole.
but again,
people think a wormhole, you're traveling through a wormhole. No, it's where time and space bends, and there's just like two pieces of paper where it bends up, and it's the two spots are real close together. So it doesn't take thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years to travel that.
oh no, I'm not saying it does, but like to have the technology to survive that and to be able to capable of doing that, I doubt they're just taking that out. Like, well, I mean, and they could. I don't know. Like, we're talking about fucking aliens here. But I can't wrap my head around them just taking that out like the fucking Chrysler taking the family to get cheeseburgers in the 60s.
I mean, if you can do it, it'd be like running down to the convenience store and getting a drink, a soda. If you have that kind of technology, to where if I had to walk, fuck that, I ain't going.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, like my main argument there is still, why the fuck would they be coming here unless they're just toying with us? If we're just entertainment value for them.
Same reason we'd go to the Amazon and fuck with the tribes that we're still finding today.
I don't understand that either.
But
like hey, we found this tribe. Good job, dickhead. They've been alone for 5,000 years, and now you're going to give them the common cold, and the fucking 60% of their population is going to die.
If they are like us mentally or whatever, there might be explorers too. You know, maybe. Who the fuck would? I just saw something on the news. Some 17-year-old became the youngest female to scale Everest and reach the summit.
Cool.
Who the fuck would want to do that?
I think it's so crazy that like in order to scale Everest, they're literally like the mapping and like landmarks. They're literally like, when you run into Tim's frozen dead body, take a left. Like,
when you have to step over dead bodies, I'm done.
What was that? The one guy that fucking did it, he was like 90 or some shit like that. Like,
But
why? Was that you have to just want to die there if you're that age.
But what's the benefit of going up there, to reaching the summit? What's the benefit?
I mean,
to say they did it. There's not a fucking Starbucks up there.
Which I can respect that. If that's like, it's good to have goals and shit. And like, if you love rock climbing and one of the things you've always wanted to do and you want to do before you die is touch the top of Mount Everest, more power to you. I get that. But yeah, you're not like, there's not, other than personal gratification, there's nothing to be gained there.
But
it's got to be kind of the same thing if aliens were traveling here. What the fuck? They don't have anything to learn from us unless they're trying to farm us or enslave us or something like that.
Or
and other than that, we have to just.
Or we're the ant farm.
Or we're the fucking shitty reality TV show.
That's what God is. We are God's fucking reality show.
That's all I could think. Like, all we could be is livestock of some sort, livestock, equipment, or entertainment. That's it.
We are God's must-see TV on Friday night.
Well, and that shows itself. Look at Coneheads. The whole fucking what's the fucking thing called? The Rancor.
I have no idea. It's been so long since I've seen Coneheads.
Yeah, the Rancor. Like,
you're talking movie,
maybe they're just they're doing that, or like how they did Hulk, or how they did Hulk in was it Ragnarok? Where he was their champion.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the most I could see out of, like, that's the most useful or desirable outcome I could see aliens having from us.
Well,
livestock, fucking farming equipment of some or manual labor or entertainment. That's it.
If they're another version, if there are more of us, and I mean human, out in the universe, I see it because,
which mathematically they're technically should be.
I'm not talking about Sigourney Weaver's Alien, with the
xenomorphs,
whatever the fuck that is, the acid blood and the fucking
those things are fucking cool.
Skull coming out the fucking mouth. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, those things are fucking cool.
If there is something evolved like us, similar to I would say humans in another solar system or another part of the universe.
But the same exact thing. It was like purple skin or something like that.
I'm not talking parallel universe. I'm talking human beings on a different planet, different solar system, different part of the universe. Odds are they're going to have our characteristics. Now, if they actually developed millions of years before us,
Yeah.
they're naturally much more advanced.
Well, and that's the crazy thing,
They
too.
would want to come explore and find other, just like we want to find life.
Yeah.
They're the same way. That could be.
And see, that's the crazy thing, too, is like, from a scientific standpoint, as far as we know right now, it's not even a parallel universe argument. Like, astrophysicists have said, like, just mathematically, like, in the same universe, there is us somewhere else.
Right. It's not a parallel universe. It's just life.
Like, there's so many planets and shit out there that mathematically there's no way that there is a drastic, like, physical and biological difference in every single thing that's out there. It's impossible.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to think we could also be going so far out that there's new elements and shit like that we don't even fucking know about.
That changed the way they evolved.
Yeah, like unobtainium might really be out there from fucking Avatar and fucking like the shit that Wolverine's made out of.
I mean,
adamantium. That's it.
Yeah.
Like those could all be like different names, but they could really be things like that's part of my problem with astrophysicists and in astrology and shit like that is they're like, well, carbon and nitrogen, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, motherfucker, if we go 1,000,000 light years west, who fucking knows what's out there? There could be 765,000 elements on the periodic table out there.
That's a science test I don't want to fucking take.
You know what I mean, though? Like, it's just as plausible as anything else.
Yeah,
I don't want to say plausible. It's just it's. I guess plausible would be the word.
If everything about outer space is what we've been told, I agree with you 100%. It's more likely life is abundant out there.
Yeah.
But like I've said before, I'm not convinced. The more I look into things, I'm okay with this being somewhat of a, I hate to use the word simulation, but more of a a dream state.
Well, I think part of the problem too with a lot of the way a lot of people think about extraterrestrial life is if we found amoebae on Mars, that's extraterrestrial life.
Right.
That is an alien.
Maybe I'm confusing a movie or something. Didn't on one of the satellites or on the space shuttle something came back on the outside, survived? Or was it a meteor that crashed, had life on it? Like an amoeba type thing.
That's extraterrestrial life.
That is ET.
That is an alien.
Just because it's a single cell organism, it's still an alien.
Yeah, then we start splitting hairs of intelligent life.
Right.
Super intelligent life, combative, peaceful, like
assholes.
Yeah, like literally if you find like a fucking mitochondrial piece of DNA, that is extraterrestrial life. Like it or was at some point. It doesn't Andromeda, like yeah, but literally, like it doesn't matter. It could be a 30,000-pound pill bug that like walks the surface of Schniffeldaffendorf fucking planet. There you go. There's your alien.
Is an alien. I agree. I'm just life that is created outside of our atmosphere is an alien, whether no matter how small or how big.
Mm-hmm. If it's off this planet,
it's an alien.
Well, because that's the thing is like, that's the other thing is there's the line of alien and extraterrestrial. Because alien is just something that's foreign to us. Extraterrestrial is literally anything that is off this piece of rock
that we are on. Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to be on a planet.
Right.
Because I've thought of that too. I was like, man, like how do we know there's not life that just floats throughout space endlessly? Kind of like those
leeches.
kind of like those like little biomes that float around the ocean.
Right, yeah.
It'll start with like a palm frond, and then next thing you know, it's got like this diverse biological life fucking like community off of it, just floating around freely. And if it goes to shit, it goes to shit. Like, how do we know that's not the same for space? Like, there's not just stuff out there, and then more stuff attaches to it, and then next thing you know, you've got a fucking like a weird level of homeostasis between all these different life forms that have come together.
I don't know. It's a good question. Life. But people want to think of extraterrestrial life as
it's got to
like us or big.
Yes, it's got to be an intelligent fucking like they can blow us up whenever they want and blah blah. No, it doesn't. It can literally be the most basest form of what we know as life.
There could be. Didn't they find water on the moon?
I think. Well, Mars has an ice cap.
Yeah. So odds are, I think, in either or, if there's water, there could be some sort of microscopic fucking alien in that.
Yeah, because as much as a lot of people might not want to hear it, that's where life starts.
Right.
Is water. It doesn't start from the hands of Jeebus Christmas. Sorry, hate to break it to you. There's not some big bearded guy in the sky that just went, people.
It depends.
Up there with his Play-Doh.
It just.
Or maybe there is.
No, I don't believe that either. But I'm just saying.
Or maybe there is though, and
it's
that's
like
the alien, and we're just fucking.
Think of the pizza as a human.
Okay, delicious.
Okay? Think of God. Like, I am big on God. There is a higher power. There is something that created everything.
So we're the pizza, and God is the guy on the fucking Domino's tracking.
God
app.
Or the creator or whatever you want. Just didn't say, boom, pizza. No. He or she, I hate to be, created the pepperoni.
I see what you're saying.
Dough,
so he
created
did,
everything.
it's like
that had to come together.
So God is the professor, and we're the Powerpuff Girls.
I did not watch the Powerpuff Girls.
He combined sugar, spice, and everything nice.
Is that where that comes from?
I don't know if it's from that show, but they say it in the show. But yeah, like the Powerpuff Girls, like literally, the professor made the Powerpuff Girls,
right?
And then something fell into the mix up. Because if what you're saying is anywhere near true, it happened just like the Powerpuff Girls, because something else fell in that wasn't even supposed to be in there, and everything went all fucking awry. But they got superpowers, we got fucking dumb.
I'm still waiting to get bit by a radioactive spider.
It's radioactive anything. Let's just see what happens. I don't give a shit. Let me give a radioactive hedgehog. I don't give a fuck.
No, but it's I do not think of, when I think of a higher power or a creator, I don't think of.
I think of Scott Stapp from Creed.
No, I think that fucking.
Can you take me higher?
That ass munch. I just.
You remember when he went crazy?
I remember back in. Bravo had a celebrity poker.
Was he on it?
He was on it and knew nothing about poker. It was almost embarrassing.
Do you remember? Did you ever see when he went crazy?
Yeah, this is about.
He was riding the bike with like the fucking bag full of tools and thought he was working for the CIA and shit.
That's batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah, I just think I don't know the whole story. He was probably just whacked the fuck out of his skull.
But somebody
took him higher.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just don't think. I think whatever created. There is an energy that created everything.
And it fucked up
now,
and it made us.
Whether that's the Big Bang, that energy that exploded, that's what is God, I don't fucking know.
Well, and there's a lot of shit with that, too. Like, just interesting stuff. Like, if the Big Bang was a thing, theoretically, there's still stuff being created by the Big Bang right now.
Right. I'm just waiting for which galaxy is going to run into us. Is it Andromeda Galaxy? We're supposed to collide with.
Hopefully.
Actually, I'm just waiting for Yellowstone to fucking erupt and wipe us out.
John Dutton will save us.
Of course, we wouldn't get wiped out immediately. We died probably.
Well, wouldn't Yellowstone exploding send us into nuclear winter? Basically.
Yeah, we would probably.
Yeah.
I think I forget. I watched a special on it. and it showed who would die instantly. And I want to say we were actually we wouldn't die in the blast, but we would probably die from
we'd probably be pretty shortly after.
Inhaling ash.
Yeah.
Not from the blast itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like inhaling the glass particulates from, or rock, the microscopic rock into our lungs. Where, Europe, it would be the nuclear winter.
Right.
That's like, the people mistake the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It wasn't immediate.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs went extinct over a period of time after that.
There's a theory
And
that
not
the
all went
asteroid
extinct.
had AIDS on it. Not AIDS, but
There's
there's a whole theory about dinosaur STDs.
Virus that wiped them out.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard something to that.
And farts. Oh, I can't read that from that screen.
What does it say?
It says, I believe that infinity or the number 0 is an actual college course, if I remember right. Won't surprise me.
Infinity and beyond.
Because now we're just getting into money hungriness, too.
Yes.
It's college. They'll make a class about fucking anything.
Yes.
What'd you learn in college this year? I spent the whole semester writing my thesis on the difference between sourdough bread and marble rye.
Get a job doing that.
Oh, you're in culinary school? No.
How does that make you feel? I don't know. But, like I said, I don't know. So I don't know about cryptids. I just know. The only thing I know for sure, this life is a lot more interesting than what we think it is.
And it's like I said, it's like the great, still alive, so I don't know how to say it, not late great, but the great Bon Jovi said, it's my life. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. That's all the words I know. I just want to live something
My
about
way or something. I don't know.
Something about other guys' wives. I don't know.
All right.
I just want to own an arena football team.
I think we've had enough fun for this evening.
Jackassery.
I don't know what we got. We'll be back Wednesday, correct?
What is that now?
What is today? Sunday? If you're listening to this, if you've stuck it out this far, be sure to come to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
And watch us live.
The chalupa almost just ate shit. Oh my god, I'm the dog. I'm afraid of everything.
But join the YouTube cult, subscribe, like, and watch us live. Comment on the chat. And if you comment, be nice to me, unlike Gregory and Travis tonight. Be sure to follow us on all our social medias at Instagram at ghost_night_podcast, Twitter at night_ghost, Facebook Ghost of the Night, and TikTok at gitn.podcast.
Yes.
Instagram is probably the best way to get a hold of us. And like I said, we will be back
Wednesday.
I was going to get it right.
We'll be back on a day.
I had only 4 other days to go through. We'll be back Wednesday for our What the Fuck Live bonus episode on our YouTube channel. So if you want to do that, join us then. And also after that, we do our after show, Patreon members exclusive after show. And if you want to get that bonus material, go to patreon.com/GITN podcast.
It's only $2. Don't be a pussy.
Yes.
And all of the funds go back into the show.
Yes.
So we can do stuff like have new signs.
All right. So once again, we thank everybody that took the time out of their busy day to join us tonight
and
for the live stream.
And if you didn't, suck my butthole.
And if things keep going the way they are, I will disenable chat.
Disenable?
Disenable. That's a word.
Words like that is what got you into this chat situation tonight.
Fuck them both. Fuck you and him.
Disenable.
Disable. I will disable chat.
Mentally disenabled.
I will Hey, I'll make up whatever the fuck all words were made up at one point or other.
Or were they?
They were made up. Somebody said...
Maybe words came before man.
Somebody said, fuck. And guess what? Some asshole in the chat probably said, fuck's not a word. Guess what? Now it's a fucking word. So go fuck off, all of you.
What's the bullshit reason or story behind fuck? Fornication under consent of the king or something like that?
For unlawful carnal knowledge, Fornication. I did something on this. Yeah, something about the king.
Yeah, I think it's
Or
fornication
unlawful-
under consent of the king or
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, that has something to do with
Oh,
the royal
fuck
family.
that stupid definition.
Yeah, fuck. Yes, I don't know. So we will see you Wednesday for the
Fuck.
bonus show, and we'll do the after show
Fuck.
on Wednesday. Then we'll also be back next Sunday for another
Fuck.
fun-filled episode, I believe.
That's what I'm getting next.
What?
I'm going to get one of these that says fuck. They make them.
Wait. I believe
Fuck yeah.
next Sunday for episode 189, isn't that
I think it's Waco.
Waco and the Branch Davidians? So Jesus came and we burned them down.
It's going to be spicy.
All right. We will see you next week. Thanks for joining. We love you and take care, everybody.
Fuck.